Hello, everyone. So the topic for today is all about photographs. Excuse me, adjusting my screen there. Never seem to get the right height. Um, and particularly, we're looking at photographs today um, within the context of narcissism. So the topic is photographs, a powerful weapon of the covert narcissist. Now, this topic today was inspired by a previous client who'd come to me in a session and said, look, she'd had this dream about her mother. And in the dream, her mother was showing her a photograph. And in the photograph was her mother, her brother, and herself, the client, in other words. The mother and the brother it was a really good photograph of them. But the client looked awful and it made her cringe. So that was the context of the dream. And it's so interesting when we do dream work. I really encourage you if you're somebody who does recall their dreams, particularly have a look at Freud's method of going through the dream and uncovering the deeper meaning. But anyway, that's a topic for another video. And that's something that I do with clients as well, actually, is dream analysis. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. So that dream triggered off in my client, it triggered off some real deep anger that she hadn't yet really come to terms with. And the anger comes from this. Her mother had often used photos at different times in my client's life for her own advantage or to further her own agenda. So at different moments, this mother would bring out a picture from the past, and it would be a specifically chosen one under the guise of it just being a random one. And it would make my client brace herself whenever she saw her mother saying, oh, have a look at this photo, or, oh, let's, look at this one. It would make my client freeze almost, because she knew that this was more than just sharing a lovely memory, that actually there was some kind of manipulation going on behind the scenes. And she was 100% right. So this gut instinct that my client had, that this was not, just a lovely moment with her mother, was based on precedent, mostly because her mother would often use photographs to try to affect her daughter's self-esteem or her growing confidence. In other words, these random pictures brought out had in fact been carefully selected for the potential effect they would have on her daughter. So photographs were used by this mother as a covert arrow, and the arrow was aimed directly at the growing confidence and the growing self-image, independent self-image of the daughter. And often, the daughter was nothing like what was being presented to her in the old photograph. But it was like her mother was trying to stamp on her this image that she wanted to project onto her of who she was. And, what better evidence for the truth is there than showing somebody a photograph? It almost makes you feel like you can't escape it. No, that is the truth. But of course it's not. Photographs are a snapshot in time. They're a momentary thing. And often they don't actually reflect exactly how it is in real life. The lighting can be different, depends on the camera, a whole number of different things. So for the mother, using photographs was a means of reiterating the image that the mother wanted her daughter to believe about herself. And often narcissistic parents through photographs as well, are desperate to prove themselves more attractive than their children, or at least more so than the scapegoat child. So they'll pick out specific photos that may make themselves look good, but you look not so good. Or they might pick out a really lovely one of you, but then couple it with one where you don't look so good. So you're left in a bit of a state of confusion as to, am I attractive? Am I not? And that's exactly where the narcissistic parent likes you to be, is in a place of confusion and self-doubt. It's interesting, covert narcissistic parents generally don't like the camera themselves. And I mean, look, all of us can have those experiences. I certainly do. I think, oh gosh, no, please, not a photograph now. But with the covert narcissistic mother, this is a general theme that, if you go to take a photograph, it can almost be seen as a threat, as if you're trying to catch her off not looking great, as you're doing it on purpose almost, and she will avoid being snapped unless she can somehow control the outcome, because that's her image, isn't it? She's got to keep up this false self. And if a photograph comes out as less than ideal, it's a total challenge to her false self, and won't go down very well. So often, sometimes if you have a covert narcissistic parent, it can spoil special occasions, it can spoil fun times, because they just don't want to have any photographs. And can make such a thing of it when you do want to take some photographs to remember the occasion. Sometimes these parents as well, and I do refer to covert narcissistic mothers quite a bit, because this is quite a theme with them particularly. So these types of mothers will use pictures as evidence of their false self. So they might bring out younger pictures of themselves quite often, when they're in their 20s or looking their absolute best. And they may even leave these lying around, or have them up so that people are reminded of who they really are. When they were looking great. And she may also, at times sort of dig out embarrassing ones for view. And this is not only the covert narcissistic parent. They may dig out a photograph that's really embarrassing, and they may do that in front of other people. And the reasons for this, picking out an unflattering one, is to keep reminding you that, you're not all that, and to keep you once again in emotional dysregulation, kind of makes you squirm a bit. Interestingly, another client of mine used to receive random letters from her mother, and in the letters there'd just be a couple of photographs, just slid in there, and guaranteed this client could open that letter, take out the photographs, and she could begin to see the agenda behind having sent those photographs. For example, I remember she said that there was one where, my client loved fashion, and she was very happy to be studying it and, making headway in that as a career for her life. But her mother had always wanted her to be a teacher. And so the mother, at a big juncture in the client's life, she's about to be hired at a fashion company or something like that, the mother would send a picture of her as a young girl playing the teacher. Or she would also do things like send pictures of my client when she was a bit overweight. So if my client was slimming down and, taking good care of herself. The mother would just slip in a picture of her as a larger size. Another subtle little means of trying to affirm in her who she wants her to be, which is a teacher, overweight and unhappy, because that makes the mother feel good. That would boost her esteem. She may also use photos to sort of affirm the false self-image that she has of herself, or the image that she wants to portray of herself as a mother to you. So this is really key for covert narcissistic mothers. They are continually trying to uphold their image as a good mother, and they will communicate that to you. Photographs are a great way of doing that, showing them holding you lovingly, or a really fond memory, something like that, to sort of cause that self-doubt. It's a bit of gaslighting, if we're honest. So all in all, if you're looking through the family albums with mum this Christmas, or dad, if they are a narcissistic parent, it's unfortunately there is always going to be an agenda with that. It'll always be a little bit tense. But don't be fooled, though. The aim ultimately is to keep you feeling like you cannot escape the truth about yourself, the truth that they are showing to you in the evidence, in the photographs, the evidence to support their desire for your life, which is usually not a good one. It's also to show that you cannot escape the family. No, you're here. This is you. This is us. And you cannot escape the image that I am dictating to you of you. So, my goodness, so much goes on when you have a narcissistic parent and they want to bring out the photographs. I hope this was helpful. Please let me know if any of you resonated with this, and share your experience. What's it been like for you? Sometimes for the golden child, it can be stressful, even in adulthood, having your photograph taken, because there's so much pressure back then to sort of be the idealized picture of the family. And then for the scapegoat, having your photo taken is often feels a bit of a potentially shameful moment, and not something you would want to do, perhaps not even selfies or anything like that. And if you were one of the children that was less seen in the family, like the invisible child, or the mascot child, you may avoid subconsciously having your photograph taken because you don't feel like you deserve to be seen. And like a mascot child, again, they may be the one that's always joking around, putting the bunny ears behind people's heads, or just kind of making themselves look like a clown in all the photos. So just interesting to observe yourself in photographs, and to be kind of compassionate, because it can be triggering, not only for narcissistic types, but also those who have been brought up with photographs being not just a lovely memory, but a moment of fear, or a moment of vulnerability, in fact. Okay, everyone. If you're watching this on YouTube, please do subscribe. It just helps get my videos out there a bit more. I hope that's a good thing. And if leave your comments, it'd be lovely to hear your experiences. And I will be doing another live video later this week. And I look forward to seeing you then. Take care, everybody. Bye now.